Thank you, Paul, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Build as a keynote address. Really worried always about that sort of title. Those of you who've not heard me before are now thinking, yeah, you can't live up to that. And those who have heard me before know I can't live up to that. Nevertheless, I want to say three things. The industry's improved over the last decade. The future focus and the way to get those politicians to raise their understanding of our value will be on delivering value and particularly a low-carbon built environment. And collaborative working will be even more important if that's the vision. Our mission as Constructing Excellence is to improve the industry's performance. We'll measure that by a demonstrably better built environment. Let me put it another way. What do you think projects are here to do? What are they for? They're for a demonstrably better built environment. The history of constructing excellence really tracks back to the Latham report and particularly the Egan report in 1998, shortly after the new Labour government had come to power, and government put a lot of money into funding a lot of initiatives, and a lot of logos spawned at the time on the left-hand side of the screen there. Over time, they've rationalised into one entity, Constructing Excellence, and over time, rather less fortunately, the government funding has evaporated. So we're largely today funded by the industry, also as it happens through corporate membership from clients, contractors, consultants, product manufacturers and the like. But that Egan report in 1998 made two important process recommendations for the industry. One was that there should be a number of targets to which the industry should work, and that we should develop a set of KPIs, industry-wide key performance indicators, against which we could track progress and success. And the economic indicators were those shown there on the left-hand side. The way in which we collect that data with the help of government means that we have thousands of projects tracked every year. That produces a very useful amount of data against which individual projects or companies can compare their own performance, benchmark their own performance. And we publish all that data is made available through kpizone.com. But also an additional benefit, and the reason I wanted this right at the start when we conceived this in actually before Egan wrote his report, was I wanted a database, a data bank that would allow us to assess whether the industry was actually getting any better year on year. And what we're able to do is to use this KPI data, therefore, at a national level. And if you like, take the average score of the industry every year and see what the trend is. And now, after 11 years, we've got a terrific amount of trend data. And this is an example of the sort of analyses we carry out. As it happens, we ask clients at the end of their projects to give a score, marks out of 10. How satisfied are they, in this case, with the service or with the product that they've just received as a result of the project that they've had the fortune or misfortune to be involved in. And client satisfaction over 10 years has undoubtedly risen. And we can discuss that in question time if you like, the issues around that particular measure. But nevertheless, as I'll show you in a minute, it shows us some very important progress that the industry has made. The second thing that Egan called for was a programme of demonstration projects. And to date, we've had about 500 such projects. And they've been volunteered by clients, contractors or consultants or manufacturers in the industry because they perceive that those projects are doing something different, something a bit better. And those results are quite interesting. Again, we can debate the value of demonstration projects and whether they really are doing something innovative or whether people are just trying a bit harder. Either way, it's a good thing. But when we measure the demonstration projects against the same KPIs and compare with that year's baseline of overall industry performance, whether we're measuring client satisfaction, environmental performance or impact of those projects, safety performance of those projects, cost or time predictability of those projects, profitability and productivity for the companies involved, the actual cost per square foot, the actual time, duration of the project, or employee satisfaction and other people issues, demonstration projects have systematically outperformed the rest of the industry. I have to say, with one common exception, which is profitability, which again we can talk about. But this year, in 2006, on all measures, our demonstration projects were better than the norm, proving that the industry can do better when certain circumstances conspire. And those KPIs and those demonstration projects therefore give us the data coupled with a regional network of organisations that are funded typically by the RDAs, plus over 40 best practice clubs, where we hear from the industry at grassroots level what is actually happening out there, what are the issues, what is working, what is not working, where have we got to. And with all that data after 10 years, in October, just 4 months ago, we published a review of what we think has been progress in the industry over the last 10 years. Called It Never Wastes a Good Crisis, the reason for which I'll come on to, concluding that improvement has been a bit patchy. There has been improvement, but it's been patchy. I'll show you some of that in a minute. And what the next stage was required, there'd been a lot of conversation, but to paraphrase the Elvis song, a little less conversation, please, and a lot more action. Safety is dramatically better in the industry. Still got a long way to go, but it's 30% better than it was 10 years ago. Those are the dark blue bars. That is the actual safety performance of the industry measured in terms of accidents over 10 years. The light blue line, tapering down at 20% per year, is what would have been achieved if the industry as a whole had managed to achieve Egan's target. And the light blue bars are what our demonstration projects have delivered each year. And even the demonstration projects have struggled to keep up with the sort of 20% improvement year on year that we ought to be able to see. So still work to do, but impressive improvement, I would suggest. Cost and time predictability, one of the two of the three key mantras of project management, stubbornly refused to change. Now what we're measuring here is the start cost, the contract cost and the contract time. So all the smart project managers in the room, are saying immediately, yes, what's happened there is that the scope has changed, or the client has approved changes, or whatever. And you're absolutely right. And those issues account for half of the overspend or overrun in our data. So client-approved changes are accounting for half of this. This is a big issue, by the way. This means at the start of a project, this data is telling you may as well toss a coin on whether you're going to get it on cost and time. That's not a great indictment. Oh, it is a great indictment. It's not a great tribute to our sector so far. The other 50% of the change of the problem is down to us, is down to the supply side. Not down to the client changing the scope. It's down to our inefficient processes. So still a bit of scope for improved professionalism in the project management sector, I would suggest. Overall, the industry has met 2 of Egan's targets and made progress on 2 others. The 2 it's met are profitability and productivity. Actually, that's not a huge surprise. It was a pretty benign 10 years in the economy and in the market, wasn't it? So the industry's improved its profitability. It's made some progress on safety, as I've already, and on defects. Demonstration projects prove that you can get pretty close on all of those targets. So, some progress. How's this been achieved? What have people been doing differently, particularly on demonstration projects, since Latham and Egan's reports? There are 4 things typically that we take the view have made a difference, and in particular the foundation for it has been integration and collaborative working in projects. Respect for people, including health and safety management, a focus on value, and ultimately a focus on environmental performance to give us that overall sustainability.